In my previous video, I created my first doll. But as soon as I wanted to print a smaller version. So that's what I did. Let's prep these real quick. I add clear glue to all the joint sockets using a silicone brush. Then I add magnets to the parts that need them. Now I can string the upper body. I'm most excited about the new shoulder joints. Of course, they were the ones that didn't print properly, but I'm hoping it won't affect their function too much. They actually work! Now the shoulders can have a wider range of posing. Luckily, the ugly parts ended up in the back where they're not as noticeable. Let me just string the rest real quick. Now that everything is in place, we can have a look at her. I downsized her to be 1/7 in scale, so she's a whole head shorter. She's pretty stable standing on her own, and I really think the shoulder joints add a lot to her pose. I made a wig cap off camera already, so let's make her wig next. I've prepared yarn wefts that I add with clear glue. I glue them all the way around, except for a small part in the front, because I had other plans. I will come to regret this in a bit. Once I reach the top, I glue a row of wefts to the left. Then flip them over. Then another to the right. And we have a parting line. Here is where I change my mind about the front and just glue the gap shut. The glue seeped through quite a bit though, so I try to cover it up with a weft. Then another one. I'm chasing the loss at this point. Oh dear. Well, let's just heat press the top a bit and see. Good enough. But now she really needs a haircut. I decided on longer hair this time. Hey, I'm getting pretty good with the scissors. I just cut myself. She's getting bangs, but it's a lot of work trying to get them even. Using a heated chopstick, I curl them inwards. That instantly makes them look nicer. I finally add some hair gel and the wig is done. I've sprayed the face with varnish already, so I go in with some blushing. I add some more shading to the ears before sealing the face again. Now I can go in and paint where I want the eyebrows. They didn't give me too much trouble this time around. I add shading to the eyelids. Then a pale orange for the lips. I sculpted nostrils this time, so I'm shading them a bit here. Not too much. I mark out the eyeliner, then paint it darker. I add more shading around the eyes. Then I build up even more blushing on the nose. I noticed that the right eyebrow was a bit off, so I corrected here. I continue to add shading and detailing wherever needed. I've kind of struggled with using the airbrush, so I've been sparse with the varnish so far. But now it's time to seal her a final time. Then I add some satin gloss to her lips. For the eyelashes, I first coat them with regular mascara, then with white glue mixed with acrylics for a chunkier look. Then I glue each and every eyelash, but with these, I don't need to add so many. I thought the process would be faster, but no, it still took an hour and a half. Let's make her eyes next. I start with a grayish blue color first, but then I change my mind and paint them green instead. I'm thinking of going for a hazel look. I add some varnish in between coats so I can build up the color more easily. I add a darker shade and then coat them in varnish again. I fine-tune the edges and finally add pupils. I sharpen a toothpick to add some highlights. Finally, I add a few drops of UV nail polish and cure them under my small UV lamp. Now that they're together with the face, I feel that the eyeliner needs some more work. Then I add some varnish with a sponge. And her face up is done. I'll be making a white blouse next. I'm using paper tape to act as my outlines. I saw this technique in one of Emmy's tiny handmade videos. I thought it was very smart because needles will ruin this particular fabric, and markers are not great when you want to use glue. Here I've sewn the shoulder parts together. I've also sewn gathering stitches on the sleeves. I glue a dart at the top of the sleeve. Then I glue it to the shoulder. This fabric is a bit stretchy, so I didn't trust myself to sew the sleeves on. But glue does an okay job, I think. I also glue the ends on the bodice that I will trim later. Once the glue has dried, I can gather up the sleeves. Then pin on the cuffs. Once they're sewn, I can remove the gathering stitches. And cut off the excess. I take the masking tape from the wrong side and place it on the right side. I'll show you why in a sec. I trim away both glued and sewn fabric. And then also on the cuffs. Now I can use the masking tape as a guide for where I need to glue and fold. Then I can remove the tape and pin the blouse together. Let's blame the fabric for my poor sewing here. I cut off the excess and remove more tape. The sleeves turned out too wide, so I sewed them again. And then cut off the excess. I turn the blouse right side out and move the tape. I glue and fold around the neck and also glue to the front edge on the left side of the bodice. The tape is losing its sticking power at this point, but I still need it to guide me. I glue and fold like so. Now I can cut away the edge on the other side. I also trim away the bottom of the bodice that I glued earlier. And this is how it looks so far. I want to finish it off with a nice antique looking collar. I cut it out and trim away the corners. Then I glue it onto the neckline. I glue all the edges. And then fold them. And our blouse is complete. Next, I'll be making a pleated skirt using the second-hand shirt. Here, I've dyed it with black tea and cut it to size, 3 times the length of the waistband. I make a small cut every 1.5 centimeter as a guide for where I need to fold. Then I glue the other end on both sides where I will cut later. The fabric stained quite a bit, but I'm hoping it won't be too noticeable later. I fold and pin the skirt. Then I heat press the folds with my flat iron. I measure the waistband and cut it out. Then pin it. After I've sewn it, I can cut away the excess. And then heat press the folds downwards. I glue the top of the waistband for a neat finish. Then I pin the skirt. And here I've sewn it together. Now I can cut away the glued bottom and trim away the excess. I made a hook clasp here already. I glue the frayed ends a bit and cut them off. Then add more glue on all the loose bits. I sew on some thread to act as the loop for the clasp. Definitely a simpler method than using wire. And it works just as well. Here is the skirt all done. I made a small ribbon in the same fabric using the fork trick. And also sewed some stockings made from stockings. I will show you how I make shoes at some point, I swear. Anyway, let me show you my new doll. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you'll tune in next time as well.